I really didn't know what I wanted to do as a young man, and I got to college and went to CBC over in Pasco, and I just got an AA degree. And even at that point, I really didn't know what I want to do. So it's summertime, and I'm like, well, I got to do something. So I ended up deciding to follow the path of my father, and I went to WSU for 2 years and got my bachelor's degree in speech, which was actually speech disorders or speech and hearing science. And then at that point, I actually left the field for a couple years and worked on a business degree, and then decided that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I went back into the audiology program in Spokane at the branch campus, and got my master's degree in 1992. And then I joined my father 1 week later in the Richland office, and that's kind of the beginning of where I started. I would say that my biggest memory for the first few years of audiology really goes back to how much I didn't know. I remember thinking when I graduated, I really didn't know a lot. I was good, but I wasn't as good as I could be. I don't think I was completely prepared. And I remember after about 2 years of practicing, I said, wow, now I've got it. But it truly is, book learning versus actually doing some of the things that audiologists did. And it was a nice growth pattern. The nice thing also was my dad was a PhD audiologist, and he kind of took me under his wing and pretty much taught me everything he knew. So I had not only a father and a boss, but I also had a mentor as a young audiologist, and that was really helpful to me. Yeah, he used to make fun of me because I would sit there and I would write my reports out. And the funny part is he finally got me to learn how to dictate reports. And then after I started dictating, I really couldn't go back to writing reports. After about 2 years of practicing, I really felt more comfortable as an audiologist, and I said, this is where I needed to be. And I think a lot of that had to do with the inadequacy of the training programs at that time. A lot of the training programs were not a lot of hands-on, and now currently we have an AUD program, which is a clinical doctorate program, and there's a lot of practicum and on-site and hands-on with the patients, and it's much more directed at releasing doctors of audiology rather than students that just have a master's degree and most of it's just book knowledge. I would tell anyone coming out of college to get as much practical experience as humanly possible. I mean, when you don't have to do your internship or your externship or your practicum, whatever they call it now for their fourth year, you get as much experience, maybe observe, volunteer, just learn everything you possibly can about that direct patient care. Know as much as you can about fitting hearing aids. Hearing aids are where the rubber meets the road when it comes to audiology. Testing is pretty routine. The testing procedures, for the most part, haven't changed a lot, although it is still very complicated in terms of interpretation and knowing how to diagnose properly. But in general, I would say that get to know as much as you can before you leave your college or university setting. So when you walk into an audiologist's practice, either in a hospital setting, private practice, you're ready to go. Oh yes, I'd say one of my most fond memories is I had a lady, we'll call her Millie, and Millie was 104 years of age at the very end. I knew her for only about 3 years, and she was legally blind. And I would actually go visit her in her home following the actual fitting of the hearing aids. She actually lived about 45 minutes south of Walla Walla, Washington, at the base of the Blue Mountains in a very, very small town. And I remember coming and seeing her, and she was on hospice care in the very end. And when I would walk in, she would just light up, and especially when I cleared the wax out of her ears or cleared the wax out of her hearing aids, and she would sing to me, and she would sing this old song and just thank God for me and just make me feel like I was really something special to her. And I'll never forget Millie, and she was a very, very special person to me. I have a beautiful picture of her and myself face to face, and I remember her. I'll never forget her. Yeah, just an awesome human being. I would say that knowing that Columbia Basin Hearing Center is still in good hands with Dr. Shannon Marie means a lot to me and my father. Handing the business over to a corporate entity or a manufacturer of hearing aids doesn't guarantee continuity of care, doesn't guarantee continuity of excellence. And by having Dr. Shannon run the business and lead this practice into the future, I have full confidence that this company is always going to be at the forefront of technology and patient care in southeastern Washington and northeastern Oregon. If I was to make a recommendation to the general public, I would say find a good private practice audiologist who actually deals specifically with the dispensing of hearing aids and not exclusively diagnostics, or that doesn't necessarily work for a hospital setting. Hospital-based audiologists are usually focused on diagnostics and catering to the needs of the ears, nose, and throat doctor or otolaryngologist, whereas the private practicing audiologist that dispenses hearing instruments is very dedicated to everything that goes into fitting the hearing instruments, verification of fitting, follow-up care, insurance billing, everything like that. Not only that, we in private practice always have much more flexibility than larger corporate entities. So being fitted by an audiologist in a private practice setting usually guarantees that there's going to be much more continuity of care, quality fittings, and verification, as well as follow-up, where you're not going to get that in more of a corporate big box store, online, things like that. I used to tell my patients, be careful what you wish for, and it kind of came true. People want cheap or cheaper, and that isn't always the best thing. The cheapest priced product is not always the best value. What we continue to focus on at Columbia Basin Hearing Center is value, and value in our situation means quality of care, product, service, verification of fitting, excellence in everything that we do for you, our patients. So it's very important for us to continue that tradition, and I know Dr. Shannon is going to continue that well into the future. I also know that we are leaders in so many different areas in terms of new products and techniques in terms of impression taking, digital impressions, ear lens, which is like a contact lens for the ear. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much happening in our field technologically that I really feel that the patient's best interests are to stay local, find a good audiologist that you can trust. I'd like to thank everybody that I've seen over the past 30 plus years as an audiologist for the opportunity to provide care, and it was my pleasure to do so. I'm currently retired. looking at some different opportunities. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the future, but I'm very thankful for the opportunity that I had with so many patients that I got to work with over the years. And I know that you are in good hands with the new ownership and management of the company, and hang in there. I think that the better times are going to continue to come our way.